Movies in the 80s and 90s, just the best. Not an opinion, this is probably just pure fact. Specifically though, I'm going to talk about kids movies kids could watch from the late 80s, early 90s specifically. The Sandlot, Mrs. Doubtfire, The Never-Ending Story, Big with Tom Hanks. Princess Bride, that was a big one for me. One of my favorites for a long time. Willow, oh my god. Hook, and of course, Indiana Jones. So last night we had a little movie night. My daughter's 7 years old, and I got to pick the movie. So just off the top of my head, I was thinking, let's do The Sandlot. The Sandlot's pretty awesome. Then I said either that or Miss Doubtfire. I don't even think my kid's ever seen a movie with Robin Williams or knows who he is, so, gotta remedy that soon. Then when I was looking online, I saw similar era movies for kids, and I saw Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And I said, you know what, I haven't seen this one in so long, and I loved this movie when I was young. Let me present that to her, and she did end up picking that one. And goddamn, I don't remember Honey, I Shrunk the Kids being so emotional. I just don't. I remember it was a super fun movie. I remember there was one part I always got fucking choked up on, and it happened again. But I don't remember the whole thing of it being so heartfelt. Like I said, she picked this one. I wanted to see Miss Doubtfire or Sandlot, but she picked this, and I was like, cool. But I ended up enjoying it so much. Even the next day now, just thinking about it. Maybe it took me back in time. I'm not sure, but I gotta say, all those movies I mentioned in the beginning, Sandlot, Mrs. Doubtfire, Neverending Story, Hook, Princess Bride, all these movies from this era. I'm 41, by the way. Surprising? Probably. All these kids movies from the late 80s, early 90s, or we could just say 80s and 90s in general. I was thinking about it, and you'll be hard pressed to find one of these that just doesn't want to make you fucking cry at some point. They're just all really heartfelt. Do they make kids movies like this anymore? The quality of these as good as these? As far as funny, entertaining, and also just fucking heartfelt. With all those elements combined, do these still do that in 2024 or in the last many years? I'm gonna say no. They don't measure up. And I'm not trying to be one of these people who's saying, oh, the era I was a kid in, that was the best era. There's a lot of that, but it just might be true. And not just kids movies, but movies in general. I'm not even going into cinema in general here, adult movies. I could go for days. I'll make another video on that, but I'm just talking about movies made for kids, family movies. I'm only gonna watch one of these family movies with my daughter, but they're pretty good. They're pretty good is what I'm saying. And growing up in the era that I grew up in, as a guy, I pretty much lived my life just, suppressing all emotion, all feelings, anytime you want to cry, you don't do it. You just let it build up in a ball of fucking hate. But last night, spoiler alert for Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Last night when the ant died, the ant died in the movie, I think I cried. And that just goes to show, goddamn, I cried during Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. My ex said I have dead eyes. She said I have dead eyes. Not true. I cried when a bug died, all right? So I'm not a psychopath, despite the rumors. Oh, how could I forget Back to the Future? Although that one, not so, sentimental, but that one is just so awesome. There's a reason as well just why, nostalgia is so fucking popular. There's such a market for it. You see these pages on Instagram, 80s, 90s, nostalgic pages, a million followers. Yeah. Shit was cool back then. And I'm not saying, I guess any era where someone grows up, they're gonna feel nostalgic about that time they grew up and the entertainment that was out during that period. But as I said, is it as good now? Just overall quality, Are people gonna look back at all the Fast and Furiouses? I'll use that for example. Fast and Furious, are they gonna look back and say, wow, what a fucking masterpiece of, just awesome movie that made me feel all these emotions. But that's not what that movie's made for. That was a bad example. But what I'm saying is yesterday when I watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, I was just reminded how this family movie could entertain me as an adult and also make me feel things scary. Yeah, do movies do that now? I don't know. And what I really can't wait for is to show her the Indiana Jones is. The Indiana Jones trilogy. I haven't seen the newest one, but the Crystal Skull, that fucking sucked. But the first three, those were, oh my god, how fucking awesome were those when you were a kid, if you're around my age, or they're timeless. They're timeless. I probably saw those when I was way too young, because I probably wouldn't show those to her. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe someone getting their heart ripped out and it's still beating and the guy's like, Kalima, shit like that. But I remember watching specifically the Temple of Doom, loved it. That was just my favorite. I wanted to be Indiana Jones. So there it is. 80s, 90s movies, the best. I mean, if we're talking family movies, if we're talking grown-up movies, if we're talking any movies. That's just a fact, I think. Of course, it's an opinion, but let's face it, come on. Okay, there it is. Hey, if you like this video, if you like me, if you think I'm hot, sexy, you want to give me a kiss on the lips, that'd be weird, right? If you like what I'm doing here, like, subscribe, the whole thing.